since it's like a milestone for like OSU students,
Yeah.
the question would be then, what, in your opinion, is the goal of the candidacy exam, or like for students going through it, or like what is your philosophy about the candidacy exam?
Some people think the candidacy exam is like a test or a judgment. It sort of is. I view it as a simple question. It's an assessment of readiness to begin research.
To begin research?
Yeah. I mean, begin on the more independent research.
Yes.
You know, again, at the beginning of grad school, you're doing independent research, but it's with a lot of help. Over the course of grad school, you'll become more and more independent. By the way, I think it's important to say, a lot of grad students freak themselves out and they think that even at the beginning of their grad school career, they should be ready to do independent research. Basically, nobody does that. So, I mean, think about how many human years of physics research was already done before you. You can't just pick it up and start working independently. That's why you have advisors. And, you know, your progress in physics can be like exponential, like e to the alpha t. And ideally, alpha is positive. And basically, with a good advisor, they can make the alpha bigger. And anyway, I'm looking for the candidacy exam, I'm looking for readiness to begin research. I'm not asking questions from Jackson.
So given the structure we have, it's like here, it's slightly similar to like a literature review.
Yeah.
You focus on this like part of, did you actually grasp what they were saying and you can build upon it as a researcher kind of thing, instead of like the core concept.
Well, you know, during a candidacy exam, I want to see that somebody learned a lot about the subject area. I want to see that they got fired up and excited about it. And I like to see more than just literature review. I like to see synthesis, that they can put different things together and build a foundation for research. I am now, I guess, going to tell you on camera some of the things I privately tell students who are about to take candidacy.
Okay.
It's fine.
Let's go. Is this like advice you give to your students, or like
Any student I run into.
Okay.
I've been involved in, I don't know how many candidacy exams.
100.
Yeah, way more than 100.
At least, yeah.
The committees want to see people succeed. That doesn't mean that they're going to pass them if they're not ready. But overall, the mood is they want to see people succeed. It's not like some kind of test where, you know, the committee wants people to fail. During the exam, so this is this circle, whatever, contains the material that you feel super comfortable with. This perimeter is stuff that you're definitely not comfortable with. In between is like an annulus where you're only half comfortable. And what the committee is going to do with their questioning is lead you farther and farther out from the center. So what should happen on a good candidacy exam is the first few questions should be easy because, you know, the student is nervous. It's good to just ask them F equals M, whatever. It just, you know, warm them up a little bit and get them stop hyperventilating and keep working in the zone that they know, build up their confidence and get them feeling looser, and then start to gradually go into this gray zone that they're not totally sure that they know, and keep going through that gray zone until you reach the edge of the knowledge. And the student probably thinks, if we reach the edge of my knowledge, I just failed. No, that's fine. Everybody has an edge of their knowledge. And the goal of the committee, I think, should be to gradually walk people out to that edge and figure out where that is. And sometimes usually the edge is far enough. There's like, yeah, it's okay if you don't know how to do that. We just wanted to see what would happen if we asked. And sometimes it means, you should study this thing a little bit more. And rarely it means, you should probably try again on the exam.
This is if like the age is like in the...
Yeah, too close, yeah.
Too close, yeah, I see. That's a good analogy, yeah.
But what you want, during most of the exam, you're going to be in this uncomfortable zone where you're not sure you know what's going on.
I'm probably thinking you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
I see that.
But the design is to put you in the uncomfortable zone. And nobody wants to see you drown, but they do want to see how well you can swim. And it's also good for you, the student, because a lot of times people end up being able to answer things that they didn't think they knew, or they didn't think that they could answer. Sometimes, some coaching and some hints and some time, that's okay. It's developing your thinking skills under pressure and also developing more confidence in your abilities based on what you can do in those difficult circumstances. So if you walk in thinking all the questions should be easy, I should be able to answer them right away, you're going to be disappointed because all of the questions are basically going to be in the gray zone. But they're not trying to drown you. They're just trying to challenge you. And now I have that's one big concept for the exam. People should take it very seriously, but they should not freak out. I think they should work hard on preparing the written and the oral. They should definitely do a practice talk. Ideally, yeah. Although they should be a little careful that the questions from students in the practice talks tend to be very, very detailed and very, pointed. Whereas a lot of the faculty questions during the actual exam are very high level, conceptual things. But you have to be able to do both.
Yeah, it makes you confident, but you shouldn't take it as like the standard way of asking questions. Yes.
By the way, if you put something on a slide, somebody's going to ask you about it. Now, let's talk about something important. You, as a student, you should walk in there knowing that for the first 5 minutes that you're talking, and definitely the first few questions, you're going to be nervous. It's just like when you go outside in February without a coat. First 5 minutes, let's say you're going for a run in the cold. The first 5 minutes, it's just going to be cold. And then you're going to warm up and you're going to be fine. So you have to prepare for that, know that. The other thing is, and this is the most important advice I have about getting through a candidacy exam, how to handle the questions. Again, be aware you're going to hyperventilate on the first few ones. What's your mother's name? Okay. So the formula is repeat the question, praise the question, answer the question. Okay, so why are you doing this? Repeating the question, a lot of times the question is very long, and sometimes it's a little too difficult. And by repeating the question, you can simplify it. It also gives you more time to think about it. And the most important thing is you want to answer the question that they actually asked. The number one thing that goes wrong in candidacy exams is professor asks a question and the student misunderstands it because they're nervous. The professor gets frustrated and rephrases the question, and the student gets more flustered because now they're trying to answer two questions. And then eventually one or two other professors say, well, let me try rephrasing this. And now pretty soon you have like all four professors, or 3 or 4, whatever it is, asking different versions of the same question. And the student is feeling pulled in all directions and overwhelmed. And all of that could have been stopped if they repeated the question. Before you answer the question, repeat the question, make sure you're actually answering the thing that they want at the level of detail that they want. Now, praise the question. I don't mean you have to flatter the faculty. I just mean you need to show willingness to engage with the question. You can say that's a good question, or you can even do it with your body language of like, oh, okay. You just have to show willingness to be engaged. I have occasionally, it's very rare, but I've seen students basically scoff at a question, mock a question. Highly not advised. So even if you understood the question perfectly and you basically laugh at the questioner, don't do that.
This is like a danger zone.
That's very rare. It's very rare, but it's very dangerous. So the main thing is repeat it, then indicate willingness to engage, and then try to answer the best you can. Now, in more detail, if you don't know how to answer it, here's what you do. You say, okay, now we have another 3-part rule. I understand the question, that's established. So the 3-part rule is, well, I'm not totally sure how to answer this question. Here's the part I'm sure of. Energy is conserved in this problem. Here's the part I guess, but I'm not completely sure of. I think we're going to lose energy to dissipation. But I'm not totally sure how. Whatever, making something up. And third, here's the part I just don't know. I've gone blank and I cannot remember the value of this constant. Now, what you've just done is you're engaging with the problem.
You told them like your zones, like this is
exactly
one zone, this is the second stage, this is the one I have no idea about.
Yeah, and by engaging with the problem and showing your willingness to engage and being vulnerable and writing down what you know and drawing a picture and all of that stuff, you're basically switching the committee from judgment mode into coach mode. And it's much more fun to work with coaches than judges. And so basically, yeah, by fully engaging and being honest and all of that, yeah, you switch the committee's mode. They still might be challenging to you, but now they're going to help you along. Okay, well, here's the value of this. Okay, you probably ought to memorize this constant, but you didn't, so whatever, here it is. Or, okay, well, on this part, try thinking about this. And then gradually coach people through things. And that's an example of what I meant about students can often perform better in this gray zone than they expected. And in a great candidacy exam, a student comes out realizing that they answered several questions that they didn't think that they could answer. And along the way, they actually learned some physics. That, to me, is a good exam. So I just revealed on camera some of the secrets I've been telling students for years, but I think it's probably good to have this out there.
And I think now we can just ask the bonus question about why the CCAP has those plants down there.
I didn't used to be a plant guy. Now I'm a plant guy.
When did it start?
I'll tell you just a sec. I'm now taking care of something like over 100 plants.
Wow, here at the physics building?
Here in PRB.
Oh,
Easily over 100, probably way more. One of the CCAP student office workers, an undergrad student, Sophia Novo, also helps. She's provided a lot of advice on what I should be doing. Part of the reason I didn't used to be a plant guy, and actually it was my friend Chris Stanek in astronomy helped me become a plant guy. He just brought me some plants and said, "You're now a plant guy." And I was like, I don't know. But he said, "No, you have to take care of it now." But then also, when we were at the end of the pandemic shutdown, when we were first being allowed to come back, I wanted to think about how to make it more welcome for people to come back. So Lisa Colarosa, one of the CCAP staff members, what she and I did is we went through all the offices and we took out all the garbage. Like, that ham sandwich from March 2020 that had been there for a year. We took out all the garbage. We cleaned all the boards. We vacuumed. We tried to make the entire CCAP area look like people were there yesterday. So, opened the curtains and dusted and made everything clean. And then we got an espresso machine. And we also got a bunch of plants and put plants in people's offices. And we started having outdoors ice cream parties, and then eventually indoors ice cream parties. And then we also did a thing where we just did a bunch of things to try to make it easy for people to come back and welcome to come back. And basically when the first time they went in their office, instead of seeing like, a layer of dust everywhere and like a moldy ham sandwich, they came in their office and it's like, it's bright, it's sunny, everything is like clean. There's a living plant sitting on their counter. And it just made it, instead of feeling like going into like an abandoned building, it made it feel like going back home. And so that's part of why we had so many plants, is we wanted to make things more welcome.
But they weren't over 100.
Okay, so then eventually I just became an addict.
Okay.
and just started getting more and more plants, and it just became a lot of fun. I think it makes the place look more like a home instead of just an empty house.
It does, yes.
And I think people do their best work when they're happy. By the way, not everybody agrees with this, but it's something I believe in strongly. Some people think that people do their best work when they're threatened. I think people do their best work when they're happy. And I think people are happy when they're in a nice space. There's like pictures on the walls, there's plants, and stuff like that. So that's why we do that. And if anybody wants a plant, they should send me an email and I'll hook them up.
All right. Noted. That's the end of this interview. This was really informative. I did learn a lot of things I didn't know about, like in terms of astrophysics and like work-related things, life-related things as well, and a lot about plants as well. So thank you so much for your time. I
Thanks.
Really appreciate that.
That was a lot of fun for me too, Ayman. Thanks.
Good.